Namaskar and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 7th episode of the Diversey BW Hotelier GM Show Series Season 2. And this one is the 5th show down west. I say down west because while everybody else is in Mumbai, I am logging in from Delhi. Technically, though, our moderator for the show, Arun Kumar, is logging in from Bangalore. That's the beauty of virtual shows. The show has a very nice, interesting, and important topic for the show, which we are going to debate today. Hospitality is human harvest, fostering and developing exceptional talent. All right, very appropriate. Before I go any further, I'd like to showcase our partner, Diversey, with their short video. Welcome back. I also now want to showcase a short clip on the IHA, the BW Hotelier Indian Hospitality Summit and Awards is due on the 20th and 21st of October in a few days from now. I'm sure you blocked your time. And these are the various award categories for which the nominations going to close on Sunday, which is the 10th of September. You just have 4 more days. Please file your nominations immediately and be counted and be adjudged by the finest jury that will be headed by Mr. KB Kachru. Who doesn't know Mr. KB Kachru? There are 45 people on all the 5 juries, 4 regional and 1 national. Thank you very much. All right, now let's get back to the show. We're grateful to Diversey. Diversey, has been 100 years in this business with their total solutions for the hospitality industry. And hoteliers put their trust in their solutions because they take a holistic approach to clean, acting as their complete hygiene partner and providing support every step of the way. No matter the size of the hotel or hospitality operation, they create a unique cleaning system that is right for you. Now, this show is a national show which we handled regionally, north, west, south, east, then we go to the northeast, central, and keep going round and round, and it is virtual. And we relay it across our various platforms, be it the bwhotelier.com or our various social media platforms, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. If you can't watch it live, the recordings are always there for you to catch up. All right. Now, let us straight away dive into the show. Hospitality is human harvest, fostering and developing exceptional talent. And let me bring in my partner who's going to carry the show ahead with me, Arun Kumar. It's his first show after getting back to India. He was there in Indonesia. Arun Kumar is the market vice president for North India, Bhutan, and Nepal at Marriott International. Today he logs in from Bangalore. He's at the beautifully appointed JW Marriott Gulfshire. You must get to that property. It's a dream. Welcome to the show, Arun.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh. It's great to be here on your show. Finally.
Such a pleasure. Such a pleasure. Next in is Bhagwan Balani, an old Mumbai hand who heads another very beautiful property, which I've seen when the first brick was laid over there to what it is today. Truly magnificent. Bhagwan Balani is the general manager of the ITC Grand Central in Parel, Mumbai. Welcome to the show, Bhagwan. All right. Next in is Panditha Lahari Srinivas, very new to Mumbai. He moved in from Hyderabad very recently, and he heads the beautiful, beautiful Taj Santacruz, bang next to the domestic airport. Welcome to the show, Srinivas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having me on this show today.
Pleasure. Next in is Salil Fadnis. Salil, if you've not seen the Sahara Star, you must. He's the general manager of the Sahara Star. You know, one side of the Sahara International Airport to the right is Srinivas, and the other one is Salil with his Sahara Star. So there you are. Welcome to the show, Salil.
Thank you, Bhuvanesh.
Have a look. Have a look at the lobby of Salil. It's right behind him. Truly enchanting. All right. Last but not the least, the newest member to arrive in Mumbai is Vishrut Gupta. Vishrut, by the way, was the pre-opening hotel manager for the Raffles in Udaipur. He is now the general manager of the Novotel, Mumbai International Airport. Welcome to the show, Vishrut.
It's a pleasure being here, Bhuvanesh. Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure's ours, Vishrut. So, ladies and gentlemen, a bit on our show. You know, talent and human harvest, if we were to call it in as much, is so very important to our industry, which is extremely direct and indirect labor intensive, and such exceptional talent to run an exceptional business as a hotel. Now, in this show, we discover insights from the industry leaders present over here on cultivating a thriving talent ecosystem, nurturing emerging leaders, and fostering a culture of excellence within the dynamic realm of hospitality. In this GM show, industry leaders engage in a comprehensive conversation about the strategic importance of nurturing and developing talent within the hospitality sector. I shall now roll on straight away with the permission of Arun. I'll begin with the first question with you, Arun, if I may. All right, there you go. So, Arun, building a talent ecosystem, let's focus on that. Let's discuss the creation of a robust talent ecosystem that attracts, retains, and develops skilled professionals within the hospitality sector. Given your international experience and rich Indian experience, and now what you're handling, I think you're the best person placed to answer this.
Bhuvanesh, it's a very appropriate question. I think most of our hospitality professionals are thinking about it, working on it, looking at it every single day. Talent is a very broad way of expressing our industry, because our industry is all about talent. And we have done over the years many things. One of the things that has worked for me personally, as I've kind of grown through the industry and seen many different markets, is to hold talent, you have to have opportunity for people. That's, I think, the big key driver for people if they have to stay with the company or in the industry for that matter, right? And what motivates people is training, rotating their job functions. You know, I've seen in many cases in my career where we put an average manager from one area into another area, and then suddenly this person is a totally different person. One, it motivates them to learn new skills. It motivates them to find out what is their true potential. And I think I'm pretty sure there are many examples of this in the industry, especially the one of the key things. I mean, from my memory, I once took a laundry associate who was there in the laundry because he was a big man and he could pick up linen from the washer and put it into the dryer.
Oh.
And we, while I started my job in that hotel, he had the biggest smile that I've ever seen. Every time I walked by, it would just light up the entire laundry. So I picked him up and I kind of arm twisted him a little bit to get into a doorman function.
Oh.
And he was just a superstar in that place. So it's about spotting the right talent, giving them the opportunity to grow, and also putting them in the right jobs. Now, whilst we can do all of these things, attracting them to come and work in the industry is one of the key things in the last 3 or 4 years that we've been working on. and we can talk a little bit about it, I think, as we move through. But I think attracting, and I'll come back to this phrase, fishing in different ponds. That's the key that we will be looking at as we move through as an industry in the next few years.
Very interesting. Fishing through different ponds is also about job rotation and multitasking.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well said. That's a great quote to take. But this show is yours now. All right. Why don't I hand the meeting to you and you take it from here?
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Let's talk to Bhagwan. Bhagwan, good evening. Great to see your beautiful hotel in the background.
Good evening.
I was there at the opening of this hotel in, I think, 2005, I think. That was very beautiful hotel. Let's talk a little bit about talent, as we've been talking about talent. And let's talk a little bit about creating a robust talent ecosystem which attracts, retains, and develops skilled professionals within our sector. And what do you think about this?
So, I think all of us have surely gone through this period in time wherein we started our careers. Building the talent has always been the key part for the hoteliering industry. At ITC Hotels, we value proposition, which is to attract the right fit talent, retain the highly engaged performing individuals, while we align our talent strategy to the business strategy. Having said that, some of the key focus areas that I'm sure we all in the industry look for is to train and equip our individuals with skills and the knowledge for their chosen fields. Because everyone who looks at joining the industry has a specific department or a field in mind. Focusing that with the right skills and the knowledge is a key thing to it. Apart from this, I would say fostering a culture of continuous learning by connecting with them, collaborating, exchanging knowledge, or reiterating the essence of teamwork and the magic of togetherness for achieving our goals. A workforce development program that we also work with helps us bridge the gaps by building new skills and strengthening the talent pools to meet the ongoing business needs. A good collaboration between education institutions and the industry helps us align these training needs. So coming to the key part, which is building the robust talent ecosystem, I'd say it always builds business acumen and create the operational proficiency and sensitizes in achieving the sustainable competitive advantage, inculcating the financial literacy, functional discipline, and encourage the creative thinking. This will in turn help us attract and retain the talent that we need for the development of our industry.
Now, one of the key things I thought was very interesting was the magic of togetherness. I just love that phrase. Thank you. Use it. I'm going to use it. Right. Thank you, Bhagwan. Very well explained. I think that kind of encompasses the whole thing that we're trying to achieve. Thank you very much. Let's now move on to Salil. Salil works in a hotel that I grew up looking at. That was the only hotel at the big hotel at the Mumbai airport for many, many, many years. Right. So, Salil, let's talk a little bit about creating a winning work culture. Right. It's a very important thing because as we build teams, as we build businesses, creating that mindset of culture, winning culture is very critical, right? And let's talk a little bit about that and how the organizational culture is helping to foster talent development and loyalty and employee satisfaction.
All right. So, Arun, over here on this panel, I think I can see combinedly an experience of anywhere from 130 to 150 years. All of us belong to various big companies which are known for their own, what they do, and they're all well grounded. And anything that is well grounded needs to have a very deep and strong foundation. And one of those strong foundations for all these companies is to have a set of core values. So these are the core values that align with your hotel's mission, vision, and these are the values which need to be imbibed into each and every employee, whether they are new, whether they've been there for a long time. They need to be injected in them, right? The organization, of course, needs to have its own ways and means of imbibing or injecting it. But the most important thing that I see over here is that the seniors in the organization, they need to live by that. Unless the seniors or the management doesn't live by those core values, the rest of the team is definitely not going to be serious about those, or they are not going to get trained, or they will not adopt those. The second most important point I feel in creating this kind of a culture is trust. You need to trust your employees. Trust is a fundamental component for a very healthy work atmosphere that you need to create. So give your employees the independence and the authority that they need on the floor to do their jobs effectively. No, SOPs are there. SOPs are there as a good guide, but the SOP should not prevent them to take a decision which can either resolve a guest issue or even go beyond to achieve a guest delight. So a lot of times, at times SOPs come in between, but that is one thing which is there to help you out. At times comes as an obstacle, and you need to remove that obstacle. You need to the SOP should actually make things comfortable for the people. As Bhagwan also mentioned, investing into training and development. Yes, that's something which is going to give new skills and grow all your team members into, and these team members are the ones who are going to make that team into an organization. That benefits everybody. I mean, not just the individual, but also benefits the team and benefits the organization. And it also contributes a lot towards bringing a sense of loyalty. Recognition is another thing that the organization needs to bring in. Celebrate these small little wins of each and every employee, or for that matter, team. That really creates a sense of belongingness. They get that sense of appreciation. Like we do a lot of social events with rooms, and there are people who just forget their things. And we are not talking of forgetting small little things. We are talking of forgetting jewelry, forgetting cash. And these are the things when you recognize that particular employee for his honesty, he gets a sense of belongingness. Or for that matter, on a day-to-day busy days, when you have rooms back to back and working under pressure, going back down to the housekeeping team, say for example, and appreciating what they've done through the day, by probably they've been continuously working, missing their lunches, just go down with a little bit of some boxes of pizzas and some soft drinks, and they're very, very happy. The joy on their faces really tells you a lot about it. Apart from that, some things about the employees that we can do, which will instill definitely a sense of loyalty and create a winning team, is resolving conflicts and grievances. Hear your employees. Create a good, safe work environment. Don't let their grievances turn into big issues. The grievance, if at all, even if it is heard, or even if it is addressed, that will give a lot of gratefulness to the guys, to the team. That brings a lot of satisfaction again to the team, that I am working in a place which hears me out, which listens me out properly. And as I said earlier, lead by example. Demonstrate the values and the behaviors you want to see in your team. Our actions as the senior management would reflect the work culture that we need to create. And as it is said, if you take care of your employees take care of the guests. And if your guests are taken care of, you have a winning team and you have a strong organization.
Thank you, Salil. That was very nicely explained. I think the taking care part is absolutely fabulous. I think that works for everybody, including us when we publish that part, take care, right? So thank you very much for explaining it so well. Let's now move on to Srinivas. Srinivas, I've passed your hotel many times, but I've not had the pleasure of coming in. I'm very soon. I'm going to visit your hotel.
Please.
Like you probably figured out, I live in airports. I did 3 cities in 2 days from yesterday to here now, but I will make sure I enter your hotel very soon and say hello to you.
You should.
So, Srinivas, let's talk a little bit about trainees, right? We hire interns, we hire trainees almost all the time. And how do you think we grow them into leaders? If you have any specific examples of individuals who started as trainees and who have reached a place of repute in the industry, if you can share that example, that will be wonderful.
Thank you, Arun. Thank you for raising this question to me, because this question is so close to my heart, since I personally have risen from a trainee to a general manager's position. I'm sure many of us here in the group also have started as trainees and made it to this level today. I would be happy to quote my own example. I started with IHCL in the year 1996 as an operations management trainee and worked my way up. From a catering assistant to general manager, I took 13 years, and I've been a GM for 13 years now. So been with IHCL for 27 years, and I've had my own shares of highs and lows, but the journey has been fabulous so far. I kept moving from one level to the other, and every time I reached a certain level in life, the company prepared me for the next stage. So I've always learned and grown. And I take pride in sharing this with you. I strongly feel ours is the only industry where close to 70% of the people who join at entry levels or trainees make it to the leadership team. In fact, few of them whom I know have actually made it up to the group ExCom level, from a trainee to a group ExCom level.
Sure.
Let's not forget our top talent and hardworking employees of today are the leaders of tomorrow. Most successful chains invest in their top talent and design special development programs to retain people. I would like to share some effective ways through which we can groom top performing employees. I'm sure all of us must have been practicing this in our hotels in our own way, but I just thought I should emphasize on these methods, because these methods have actually helped me establish myself as a leader. First and foremost thing, according to me, is talent scouting. I strongly feel it is the responsibility of the leadership teams at the hotel to spot the right talent at the right time and offer them customized training programs that would make them future ready. Invest in training. Grooming your top talent alone is not enough. You need to provide them enough training on their technical and managerial skills so that they become effective leaders. I would like to recommend strong mentorship programs, because this has helped me quite a bit. Mentorship programs are also a great way to groom your young talent. Your senior leaders can groom the younger generation with all their experience over the years. By doing so, they will not only impart knowledge, but also share their experience as well. I think the other thing which we should focus on while we train the younger generation is also teach them time management. Because I feel the younger generation of employees learn better time management by offering training opportunities that focus on time management. Focus on personality, communication and attitude training. These training programs also help your employees to unleash their real talent that even they are not aware of. And I strongly believe in shop floor training. No matter how fancy our tutors are and how great our training programs are, at the end of the day, our employees should be put all those learnings into practice. We have to find ways to provide practical assignments to employees where they can practice what they've learned in their training. I think that's the best way to check our training effectiveness. And the other thing I think is very critical to hold on to our people is to share constructive feedback consistently. It can help your employees to reflect back on that and improve themselves. To wrap up, any kind of growth happens with proper planning and consistent efforts. As a leader, I suggest if you want to groom your talent, make a systematic plan, focus on how you can groom them. By doing so, you will be building a platform for trainees to become industry leaders. And this is my honest belief. Gentlemen, if we want this legacy to continue, we have to step in as leaders and take the responsibility to create a bench strength of talent for our organizations. Thank you. That's all from my side.
Thank you very much. As leaders, we need to step in and take responsibility. I think that's the key message, and that's what is going to drive and help trainees along. And also one of the things that you said, which made sense, was we need to explain to all of these guys, time management. Okay, I think as we kind of evolve, right, I think that's one of the key takeaways. I think will be great for people to learn, and especially trainees, right? Thank you very much, Srinivas, and we'll come back to you very soon. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's now move on to Vishrut. Vishrut, I must admit, I have not seen your hotel. I'm very sorry. I will make sure when I'm in Mumbai next time, I will drop in. Okay. So,
Welcome, absolutely.
Sorry?
You're most welcome.
Oh, pleasure. Sure.
Very close to the airport. So,
okay.
very easy. Yeah.
So, Vishrut, let's talk a little bit about mentorship. Okay, look, all of us have grown up in the industry. I'm sure when you think of a mentor, we think of somebody, right? And can you share a little bit of an insight into the benefits of a mentorship program and how this guides and empowers talent to grow?
Thank you. I think that's a very, very interesting viewpoint. And I think that's something that I'm sure everybody on this panel and everybody who's listening to us would agree. I think in hotels, mentorship has been the cornerstone of our growth, right? I think at every step, right when we started as maybe the first time stepped into hotels and industrial training, coming out of college to then a management training program, whether you were with the big three, ITC Oberoi or the Taj, or whichever way, right, or you started through the ranks. It's been somebody who's kind of guided you and helped you, motivated you, and moved you along on this journey, right? And as we step up, and I think sharing of those experiences defines an individual, defines an organization more so, right? And I think mentorship, to be honest, is, like I said, is the cornerstone of success and retaining and growing talent within the organization. And I've been lucky to have had some fantastic mentors through these years, to be propelled to open the first Raffles in India, to going to lead the Fairmont in India, and then again coming back to Mumbai to open a 270-room hotel is again due to mentorship, right? Exposure to different brands, exposure to different companies during this journey and preparing you to be a general manager, for example, right? So I think what mentorship does is facilitating success of others, or facilitating success of somebody you've been assigned as a mentee, or you are being mentored by, right? I think that helps. So once you kind of look at assessing an individual, and depending on which level you're looking at the mentor being, right? It could be a person starting for the first time, or a senior head of department being groomed to become a number 2 of a hotel, or a number 2 being groomed directly by the general manager to lead the hotel. And I think with the growth of our business in the country, right, the way the economy is growing and the number of hotels that are opening, we need more and more leaders. So if you open 20 hotels in a year, Accor opens, right? You need 20 general managers, you need 20 head of departments for every area, and you need in multiples of management teams. And where are they going to come from, right? So I think the key focus and key areas to look at, I think, yes, is it helps forward planning. As long as your mentor, and between the mentor and mentee, the relationship is about having a micro connection. I think that really is a very, very important segment. And then adapt based on the learnings of the mentee / the mentor, can adapt and evaluate the next phase of what needs to happen. It helps process and give an individual some structure to their thought process. And I think it's very important with the experience of the mentor because they are able to pick how a person is reacting to something, and they are able to give you guidance, offer, and solutions. Right? Coaching is a huge element, and I think at Accord we've been lucky to be having a culture where collaborative management and coaching. So rather than giving you direction, you're kind of left to say, okay, what do you think would you want to do in this scenario? Over being told what to do is the format that we follow, at least in our hotel, in our leadership team, and I think that's the way we grow. Look at growing talent. It helps you acknowledge situations with clarity. I think it helps you bring about, you are going to run something by somebody, you're not sure what really needs to be happening in a specific scenario. So I think then when you have a seasoned person with their experience kind of guide you through those spots where you're not sure whether the left is the right area or the right is the right area, and then progressive 360-degree assessments to get you the right information about the person from his peers, superiors, or people they report to identify the star talent. And yes, I think a mentor and mentee relationship is the cornerstone, and time can be rewarding. So time spent with an organization, time spent in mentoring somebody or being mentored is rewarding for both individuals, right? And you, as a mentor, also you learn, when you work with different mentees that you get assigned, there's a different sort of learning with every individual. And even for a mentee, learning out of a mentor is a great different ball game, right? It's depending on which role you are in, which city you are in, which segment of business that you work with. All of those things excess. So I think it's about building on the success that the individual has had and giving them the confidence, the empowerment to go up to the next level. If they're 75, 80% ready, get them to do and learn the basics of the job on when they attack. Nobody can ever be 100%. So I think a lot of our learning actually happens even for us when we attack a particular scenario. So as long as the person we feel is about 80% there, it's the time 70, 80% there. It's time to look at moving them up and see how they respond, and then obviously be there to guide them through. That's my take on it.
Sure, Vishrut, I think you kind of spoke on many aspects of mentoring, the relationship between the mentor and the mentee, and there are different kinds of relationship, which is actually great. You gave some examples of what you do on Accord, which is wonderful. One of the key takeaways, I think, is run this by someone, right? And who's that someone is your mentor. I think that happens most of the time. I still do it. I call the GM of the Ritz-Carlton in Hong Kong, Pierre Peruzet, if sometimes I want to sound something off, right? Which is unbelievable, right? Thank you very much. I think that's the takeaway, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Bhuvanesh, I think back to you now.
So I'll just head into a small commercial break. And thank you, Arun, for leading this so wonderfully. I have so many messages coming over there on the show. The show's being well taken, right? All right. So we'll bring in the Diversey video. All right. So let's get along, Arun. And I'll come in with the sixth question, and that's meant for you. Arun, diversity and inclusion, and of course, equal job opportunities are extremely close to my heart. And there is barely any show where I don't talk about it. So let's just pick your mind on this. If you can tell us about diversity and inclusivity initiatives and how they've enhanced talent recruitment and have fostered creativity and enriched guest experiences in your view, given your background overseas and in India, and how do you see it go in India?
Look, Bhuvanesh, this is a very hot topic. Let me tell you, like you said, right, we have started talking about it in the recent past, and it is going to stay. Diversity is very vast, and one of the first things we are doing, I mean, I'm sure every company is doing, is try to get women in leadership and nurture women into leadership positions as we go along, right? Personally, I'm very focused on this, and we're trying to grow a bench strength of women leadership who can take on as general managers soon, right? Now, this is being discussed. Where we are also looking at is in-market talent development, right? Let's say we open hotels in diverse locations. Now we just opened a hotel in Rishikesh. Took a little while for us to figure this out, but we worked with a couple of our partners to nurture the local talent from there and get them to come into the resort and train them. We took a first batch of about 8 associates from the nearby villages, and we wanted to try it because we weren't sure how we can do this right. But then it was absolutely successful, and now we're going to replicate this in pretty much all of these hotels. Now we have to start small, and I think we have started it in the last, I think, 1 year. We're trying it now, but I think that's also something that we look at, and this is where I bring up this fishing in alternate ponds is very critical, because we are very so focused on thinking about talent from hospitality schools. But as the industry is growing, all of us every company was represented on this call is growing at an exponential pace, right? So the shortage is going to increase. Now, we have in the next, let's say, 7-8 years, have a lot of pipeline hotels which we will open, which we know of, which we need to fill. But we also need to replace the existing workforce, which is going to retire by that time. Right? So the talent shortage is going to be there. Now, we have to also look at how are we going to get guest experiences to see how we're going to match this talent and the guest experiences. Let me tell you that this experiment at our Westin in Rishikesh really paid off. I'm sure everybody's trying this. The local experiences which the local talent brings in is what fascinates guests more than what I stand in Rishikesh and try to explain. Right? I think that's the match which we're trying to get. I think that's probably the way ahead. Right? And also, I worked a little bit with Ritz-Carlton. I bring this up again because the credo is everything at the Ritz-Carlton. And the credo comes from Latin. It means I believe, right? Yeah. And the genuine care and comfort of guests is your single highest mission. And this is what is drilled into everybody. It doesn't matter who joins the company. And I think if we create a platform where everybody gets onto that same vision, right? I think we'll have, it doesn't matter how we hire people, but if we've trained them and put them on the right platform, I think they will match the expectations of the guest and take this forward.
True. And also, if you were to see, our industry is actually taken cognizance of the need of diversity, inclusivity, and equal job opportunities extremely well. And Marriott has led the way, right? I mean, the very fact that Ranju leads Marriott in South Asia, 1, 2, to opening an all-women's hotel in Hyderabad, right? And you see the landscape of the industry in Marriott, right? I think one feels very nice seeing specially abled people, women, they are actually taking their place under the sun, right? And shining. So well said, Arun, extremely proud of what Marriott has done in India. And I'm sure everybody else has got their act together as well. All right, so congratulations. So with that, let me hand the baton back to you.
Okay. Let's go back to Bhagwan again, please. Now, holistic skill development is something that we are talking about in terms of getting technical skills, the soft skills, communication, and opportunities to use all of this. Let's talk a little bit about it and see what you think about this.
So, talking about holistical skills and its developments, as for me, it involves nurturing various aspects of development in an individual, be it the physical, be it the social, emotional, be it the intellect dimensions. All this would be with self-awareness, social connections, a healthy lifestyle, a mindfulness, and an emotional intelligence. Putting all these important components, I would say one needs to create a balance in a job area and need a balance between, as rightly put across by Srinivas a little while back, a hands-on training experience. What you learn, you need to be having a space to implement it. At the same time, let's say take a step back, work on a bit on the research development, how we can enhance that working environment for ourselves, our colleagues, our whole circle around. That for me would be about a 70-20, while I'll give it 10% to a classroom session where you go through the different processes, different learnings, different books to it. And while bringing in a working life, which is blended, I can put it saying it'll be a nice blended learning approach. So at 70-20-10 sort of a approach between on the job to a research development to a classroom session. While having said this, I would say exploring interactive methodologies, which would be influencing, inspire, enable dramatic change with a lifelong process of development could work well. However, this needs to be tailored to an individual's unique needs because we can't have a cookie cut.
Mm-hmm.
We being in a service industry, everything has to be individualized. And overall, I would put this saying, if we have to get new ideas, and steps can only come up when we don't have a complete plan. If we always had a complete plan, I think we'll be factories. So there are scenarios when you face it, you analyze, you redefine, you grow it, and the most important of it, you own it. There are times when people say, when we come and interact with the customers and certain scenarios come up, we have an option. Do we look out of the window or do we look at the mirror? When it's a compliment, we look out of the window and look at people who have done it well. I would say when it comes to a mistake, an error, would prefer looking at a mirror and say, where did I manage? What did I do? And what can I correct?
Bhagwan, that's very nice.
Thank you.
I love the way you said it. It is when you plan too much, you don't really learn much, or nobody really learns much. When you have a certain element of improvisation, right? I think that teaches you a lot more. And look, one of the other things I thought should be very nicely said, if I have to phrase it, is you should show and tell, and not just tell. No, once you show something, tell something, they connect. Okay, that I think is one of the key takeaways. Thank you very much. Very nicely put.
Thank you.
Thank you. Salil, let's get back to you. Now, emerging leaders and how we tap into them is very key, because how do you nurture emerging leaders in an organization which can build a pipeline of talent for future? Okay? And I think that's something, it's a very great discussion. So I just wanted your views on how do you do this?
Arun, I think once upon a time, all of us fitted into that category of emerging leaders. Today, we've moved on and we've come into this position wherein we look back, we are the leaders and we need to identify them, the emerging ones. So we just need to look as to what happened to yourself and keep on doing that. So basically, observe your employees, observe the people who are working for you. Observe them at all levels of the organization, is to identify as to who's showing certain traits, who's showing those leadership skills, who's got that initiative, who's got that problem solving skill, and most importantly, a strong work ethic. Today there are so many distractions, and having strong work ethics, you really don't find amongst everybody, but yes, a lot of people still have them, and we just need to focus on them.
Sure.
Offer training and development programs to all these emerging leaders. Help them build their leadership skills. This could include workshops, or it could include mentoring skills or leadership seminars. Offer them opportunities for cross-training in different departments so that they understand the working of the other side as well. Encourage these employees to take ownership of whatever they are doing. Pat them for anything right. Yes, we need to correct them for anything wrong as well. And that is where, when we correct them for their wrongs, that is where our role comes into play. We need to take care of their development, provide them the resources, let them attend all these industry conferences and support their efforts to learn and grow. Give these emerging leaders a chance to gain experience in different roles within the hotel. The broader their skill set and understanding of the role that you are looking them for, the more it will help you and it will make your job easier. And again, the benefits, who benefits? The hotel benefits. Include them into discussions and in discussions where decisions are being made. Include them in all kinds of meetings. Let them understand what happens in those four walls when whatever you are discussing, because they know very well what's happening on the floor. Invest time and resources in all these guys. Most importantly, stretch their abilities. Give them assignments and stretch their abilities that allow them to demonstrate their leadership qualities. Lastly, I would like to say that even a block of charcoal if it was not subjected to intense pressure, it would never have become a diamond.
Very true, very true. Thank you very much. I think that phrase is also the block of charcoal under pressure becomes a diamond. I think that's very true in every instance, right? And also tapping into emerging leaders, the way you explained it, how you kind of do things for them and make them feel important and supported and recognized is absolutely the key. And I'll tell you, I have had many examples and personally as well. It is when I see this, the moment you recognize people and tell them you have done this fantastic job, I think that puts them on a pedestal that you can never pay with any money, right? So thank you very much, Salil. That was very nice.
And also the case of Salil. Salil stepped out of the kitchen to do what he's doing now. So,
Absolutely. Once upon a time, all of us were there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Salil. Let's move to Srinivas again. Srinivas, this is a digital era. People keep telling me this every single time, including my kids, and they show me different ways of handling my iPhone, which I have no idea, right? So this is unbelievable. Now, when you integrate this kind of pace of technological advancement and try and bridge that into a talent development program, right, in a digital landscape, right? How do you think it's going to evolve, and And what are your thoughts on this?
Thanks, Arun. On a lighter note, like you said, my daughter is my technological guru. Okay. So, so I still fall back on her if I get stuck somewhere.
Sure.
And as an industry, over the last 2.5, 3 decades that I've been there, seen a lot of transformation in our own industry, and the pace at which the technological development is moving right now, we need to cope up. We need to cope up with that speed. Okay, there was a time when things happened at a slower pace, but right now it is happening at a rapid pace, and I see a lot of companies taking a lot of initiatives to cope up with it. Essential digital skills are steps towards learning lots of other new things. Many jobs today need digital skills. I still remember when I started my career, we only had black and white monitors, dot matrix printers, and the electronic pages. But today, I think the same is being replaced with virtual screens, 3D printers, and mobile phones powered with 5G. We have moved from dot matrix bills to e-bills. We have indeed come a long way. Upgrading talent to conquer the era of digitalization in hospitality industry is the way forward. Technology innovation is taking place in the operating departments and back offices. Reskill and upskill are essential in the hospitality industry. I emphasize reskill and upskill. Especially after the COVID pandemic, there has been a demand for information technology. Integrated AI and robotic technology in hospitality industry can ease the workload of staff performing simple routine tasks in operating departments. But at the same time, it's crucial for staff to understand the technology implemented and acquire knowledge of robotics and human interactions. Automations and digital technology will certainly reduce the burden on staff, but it is vital for us to train our associates on emotional skills and problem-solving skills, which according to me are the key to reaching service excellence. Machines and technology have a certain level of understanding of guest needs and requirements. Once the request goes beyond AI programming, human interface becomes inevitable. Therefore, soft skills education remains an irreplaceable course within the hospitality industry. To sum up, soft skills are the foundation of the hospitality industry in the digitalization era. It's crucial to upskill and reskill technical skills regarding technology innovation. Our role is to strike a balance between soft and technical skills in the industry. And this will keep continuing forever. This is my take on digital movements.
Look, you brought up a very interesting point. Now, all these things that we know are going to be obsolete very soon. The AI is taking over on many of these jobs. And it's going to be interesting how it evolves. I think that's one of the key things that we need to keep in mind when we look at talent and how to integrate technology, especially the generative AI that we're all talking about now. I think that is something very interesting to see. And I'm really
going to be driving your business and the operations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's pretty, it's unbelievable. I just did a vacation and I only use our Marriott app and I didn't do anything. If I need something, also you can message. I didn't speak to anybody. I didn't call anybody. I didn't write to any GM anywhere. I thought that was really cool. I've never done this. I know I should have done this before, I think, but first time I tried it. And I think it's such a seamless experience. You don't have to talk to anybody, which is something I don't like to do. But when you try it, it works. And it works beautifully. I think this is the way ahead, right? Thank you very much, Srinivas. Thank you for explaining and trying to merge the AI angle into this digital world. So thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to Vishrut. Vishrut, there are many ways you can grow your career. Now, there are many frameworks, many opportunities that encourage employees to grow in a particular way in any organization, right? Just shares your thoughts on this and if some examples, if you have to see some different frameworks and different opportunities and pathways that talent gets to grow in an organization.
Well, I think it's a very interesting question, and I'll build on to what we spoke about mentor-mentee relationship, right? And I think how we like to look at it at Accor is essentially to see One, we have a quarterly catch-ups with every associate, and every artist is what we call an associate's heart and an art. Somebody is an artist with a heart. And so with that process and a quarterly catch-up, and you're able to then identify who is your star talent, again, through a process, and then looking at their personal learning and development program to see where and what inputs they need to go to next levels, which is what we call cohorts. They could be at unit levels. They are also based at India level and also at a regional level with Asia, Pacific, etc. coming through, right? And I've gone through one of those programs to help me develop as a general manager, which was incredible, right? I think there's a selection process where it was a day spent as a general manager to identify who we are, and you're assessed by a series of various vertical heads, and you're spending a day as general manager live, and you're selected. And then you go through this program with 30 of you selected from various countries, and you've been giving inputs, whether it's reading a hotel management agreement or how to negotiate a win-win with an owner or the stakeholders, and you're also looking at how to talk to the media, address a press conference, to various inputs, whether it's commercial intelligence, whether it is distribution intelligence. So those inputs being given, and I think we are lucky to work in an organization that encourages this at every level. So whether you're an associate moving to a supervisory level, or a supervisor moving to a management level for the first time, and a management person moving to a head of department position, or to a number 2 or an XCOM, and then depending also in growing through. And I think it's a great thing to have, and you have people who can also move within. HR individual going on to lead a hotel is an incredible example that we've seen, or a head of security becoming a general manager eventually. And I think those are examples. And having been able to open about 2 hotels in 2 different cities for Accor, one Raffles in Udaipur, and now the Novotel Mumbai International Airport in the last 3 years, we've been lucky to have a bench strength where about 30-35% of the talent we could grow from within the system or within the network of sister hotels and bring them in. So one, you are able to continue the culture, bring in the artist legacy, and also provide live examples to other colleagues who are joining you from outside to look up to, right? And I think celebrate success within, inspires others to follow those examples and look at those training programs seriously. And I think these are really coaching programs. These, you can, again, depending on the complexity of the role or which assignment you're looking at, it could have subscription to corner training programs, some live trainings. You go through structured trainings on the floor, as well as you doing a project which you're being assessed on. So it's again, it's an umbrella of activities that a person goes through in a stipulated time period, followed by an assessment again to see when you are ready, and being then looking at moving you up. And I think overall, we have to grow our talent from within, because ours is an industry that we cannot really find, MBA graduate to come and run a hotel, unfortunately, as much as we would like to. But again, I like the story of the fish and, looking at different ponds that one of us quoted. And I think even with those, right, we're now looking at having colleagues come in from various parts of the country and then how we imbibe and bring them in. And when you work overseas, like you've done, right, and when I got exposed to 4 or 5 assignments as part of my development overseas, and again, you look at working with multicultural teams, it's a revelation on how a simple thing is perceived by different individuals and nationalities and thought processes.
Sure.
And I think when you bring that back, and in our business, I think ethnography is depending on which identity or which nationality or which ethnicity of guests you're dealing with. You're able to imbibe and manage what you're doing accordingly, right? Without being trying to sound biased, but that's the reality of our business. And I think that amalgamation works well. So I think growth tracks are the way, and I think it's more and more important for every organization to be able to talk about it. And I think more importantly, have the awareness within the hotels, within the teams, within the regional levels, and then consistently driving them is extremely important. I think it has to be driven at the unit level by the leadership teams, by the management teams, by the supervisory teams, to look after their own colleagues and people who work with them, and look at every opportunity to grow every individual available to us. Given the scarcity of the talent, your attention is far higher when somebody's grown within, because there's a little bond of loyalty to an organization, rather than people switching for short-term measures otherwise. That's my take on it. Thank you.
Excellent, Vishrut. Look, from what I hear, there has to be multiple streams that you provide as frameworks to talent to grow within the company, so that there's no one size fits all, because at every level you need to have a different framework and a different motivating factor. Right? I think that's really very nicely explained, because that's what really works. And you cannot say this is the one thing we'll do and we'll be successful. So thank you very much for kind of explaining it so well. Thank you. So look, I think we had a fantastic discussion on talent and different ways of growing it and different ways of nurturing it, different ways of retaining it. And this discussion is going to continue. And as we evolve, I think we'll figure out newer ways of doing this. In many ways, right? My personal belief, which has worked for me personally and helps to connect, is how the company connects with you as an individual. And every company has connected. I mean, all of us sitting here, I've been working with same companies for many years. And if you see, I'm sure there's a connection that somebody or something makes for you, right? And it could be an opportunity they give you. It could be the trainings they send you for. It could also be the recognition that you receive. I think the main thing that retains people, attracts people, is the connection the company can create with you. So I think that's my take to kind of sum this up, Bhuvanesh. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be here on your show.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure. I couldn't have asked for a better partner to lead the show. But yes, I'm somebody who's pretty much an optimist. Every time we see a lack of opportunities or situations which aren't looking very good, one has to look at the India story. All right. The India story today outshines any other location, any other region of the world, any other nation of the world. Right. And that augurs so well. If one was to look over our shoulder, look at all the major corporations, they're all being headed by Indians. So there's no dearth of talent. The only thing that is there today is talent has a choice. Do they want to be in facilities? Do they want to be in hospitality, airlines, technology, wherever? They want to be in the kitchen, they want to be in the front office, and that all augurs well. I think we need to step up our act, and this show is being watched across hospitality schools. For all those youngsters who are honing their skills in hospitality schools, look at these 5 gentlemen, right? They just didn't get dropped in the chairs in which they sit now. They've worked their backside off to be where they are. And they're people of exceptional talent. They handle really expensive assets. They handle large geographies. Look at what Arun handles. Arun was heading Indonesia for Marriott. Look at Salil. Look at what Vishrut has done. Vishrut was the opening head of the Raffles in Udaipur. Look at Srinivas. Look at the 26 years, 13 plus 3 that he's done at the Taj. So these are people of exceptional talent. I'm sure you want to be in their seat after a few years. But the first thing to do is make a start, opt for this industry. This is a great industry. Where else would you meet heads of state? Look at Delhi. Look at the general managers there. Somebody is handling Rishi Sunak. Somebody is handling Joe Biden. Somebody is handling the Chinese president, the Australian prime minister, so on and so forth. Tell me which other job gives you that opportunity, right? Which other job teaches you the skills to be able to talk to such dignitaries, to speak to the prime minister? So be there. This should be a choice of industry. Thank you, gentlemen. I'll just take 2 minutes. I want to thank Diversey and bring in IHA. Yeah. And now, last but not the least, the BW Hotelier Indian Hospitality Summit and Awards, the IHA, the nominations. This was this morning, 4 days. Tonight will be 3 days. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday is the last to file your nominations. These are the categories. Be there. It's very easy to navigate. It's all online. There are no physical papers, no emails, no attachments, nothing. It's all there. And the jury is fantastic and the process is so transparent. All right, be there, file your nominations. Last but not the least, tomorrow's show will be our 18th, and that will be our last show in Mumbai. And the show topic is Green Horizons of Hospitality, India's Sustainable Revival Story. We have Jalaj Rohtagi, we have Ajit Singh Garcha, we have Ajoy Balakrishna, and Sheetal Singh. Another good set of general managers. Be there, watch the show. And now, let me thank Arun. Thank you. You've been a 10 on 10 moderator, right? A great career choice once you put up your feet, right, and untie your laces. Thank you, Srinivas. Thank you, Bhagwan. I always say thank you, Bhagwan, every day in the morning before I go to sleep. But yeah, thank you, Bhagwan. Salil, thank you so much. And Vishrut, God bless you all. Go far. And thank you, Team BW, Tanvi, Shweta, Kartikeya, Prashant, Salman, and Ajit, Saurabh, Priyanshu, Priya, Nilesh, and Amit. Thank you all. Grateful. Thank you for being on our show. You make it special. Thank you. Thank you, Arun, Salil, Vishrut, Bhagwan, and Srinivas. Bye-bye.